Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We're going to go right into the news. Of course, they say that numerous stories from the fake news media, hold on here, have been circulating, again, about General Daniel Kane, sometimes referred to as Razin, is going against us to going to war with Iran. The story does not attribute this vast wealth of knowledge to anyone and is 100% incorrect. Trump said in a Monday post on Trump's social, General Kane, like all of us, would like not to see war. But if a decision is made on going on against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it will be something easily won, Trump continued. Axios first reported that Kane has now been more cautious in talks about planning against Iran compared with the lead up to an early January raid in Venezuela, where U.S. personnel captured the country's leader, Nicolas Maduro, and did it in quite an easy fashion, right? It says the Joint Chiefs Chair views a potential major operation against Iran as inviting a higher risk for U.S. casualties. Again, Kane, the top U.S. military official, has voiced similar warnings during meetings at the Pentagon and the National Security Council, concerns also expressed by the Pentagon officials. Now, here in a second, I'm going to talk about, of course, reports out saying that China is actually putting out satellite images of our ships leaving Bahrain and basically going to go do something. So things are about to go down, and this is a perfect kind of piece, essentially stating right before the fact, what they believed could happen. We'll be right back right after this. This is going to be a show you do not want to miss. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Even though he was right, I ain't no crazy Alex Jones. Even though he was right, I ain't no crazy Alex. Even though he was right.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is live. We're talking about, of course, everything that is going on in Mexico, everything that is going on with Iran. There are reports right now that our ships have been leaving their ports and that there may be something going on right as we speak. But of course, the president was talking about Kane, one of the guys that is going to be essentially leading this attack, if one of a few. It says, of course, none of the reports noted that Kane was against the U.S. Going against Iran or going to war against Iran. Kane has presented Trump and other top national security officials in recent days a range of strike options that the U.S. military could execute against Iran. Trump on Monday, praised Kane as knowing Iran well and being the architect for the U.S. bombing on Iran's 3 premier nuclear sites last June. If you remember, that was, of course, an operation that was first a drill where everybody in Kansas saw our stealth bombers above, and they did a little detour. 2 of them went and took out all of these nuclear sites. Again, it says he has not spoken of not doing Iran or even the fake limited strikes that I've been reading about. He only knows one thing, how to win, and if he is told to do so, he will be leading the pack. So he's essentially saying that, he's even saying that the limited strikes is a fake kind of story here, but he's totally then also throwing out there that this guy knows how to win. So whatever we're going to see, is it going to be a shock and awe? Is it going to be something else? We don't quite know. Before we move on, let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fuggle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry about that fuzziness. I fixed the mic here. All right, so with this, Dex, he's essentially throwing in there too, I don't know about the limited strikes, but he goes, if we're going to do it, we're going to win. So what could this look like, right? This is a huge, huge, huge event that could possibly change our world's history.
Well, I mean, look, if you take out the number one supporter of, global terrorism, that's probably a great thing. If you are able to flip that country into, something that's not constantly taking all of its resources and money and funneling it to Hezbollah and all the others, then the world would look like a much different place.
Now, a lot of Pete Hegseth's detractors have talked about, how he's like the manly man and that he's overconfident, this and that. Well, I have to say, after seeing the video of while all this is going on, while American citizens are being hunted down in Mexico, supposedly, we have Iran with 2 armadas with our men and women over in uniform, potentially in a lot of danger right now. While all of that's going on, the media is essentially asking them soft ice cream questions about, could you believe, when you were coming up, when you were growing up, did you ever think that you would be the one that would be, doing alien disclosure? And he's like, no, I didn't have that on my bingo card. I mean, it's just silly, like that they wasted a minute on this with how serious it is right now in the world. And he is, of course, laughing it off. And when you see that kind of thing, I wonder how much of that is the bravado of, we're the best military in the world, we're untouchable. Well, here's the problem. Our military can kick any military's butt, okay? We have the best military in the world as of now. That doesn't mean it will be that way forever. Again, even the Pentagon has said that others are coming up on us like China. But one thing that I am worried about, and all of you should know and be worried about too, is all of the events that we've talked about over the years. Solar winds, these back doors that have been in our systems. Just last year, they found physical radios put into our renewable technology and into our power grid systems. So it's like, people aren't thinking about how bad it can get with even 1 or 2, 3 days of our nation's grid getting knocked down. That's why I really, really hope that people are paying attention to what is going on because, obviously we have side news right now that this guy tried to walk right up into Mar-a-Lago and potentially take out the president. That's a little thing compared to the multiple big scenarios that the Pentagon has been preparing for. They're wargaming very, very specific situations here. And, they don't just spend, $50 million on each scenario for it to be, silly, like, zombies are going to arise and take over the Pentagon. They look at the most likely scenarios. And almost all of these scenarios, 80% of them, are all circled around China, Iran, Russia, all of them being a part of a single pack. So all of this stuff going on right now with Iran, people really need to understand that this is part of a bigger thing. This isn't going to be, I don't think this is going to be like Venezuela and Maduro sweeping in, turning everything off, and then taking them out. Because they already know that they're at a disadvantage. With Venezuela, they were told lies by Russia and others that their defense systems work, or we just came out with a new technology nobody knew about. But after we use that technology, are they going to figure out how we did it? That's what I talked about last week is like, the whatever technology or super soldiers they used on Venezuela, after they use those in public, which it sounds like they've never used them before, can our adversaries, figure that out and come up with a plan against it? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, thank you so much, Mods, for being in the house already. And then thank you, CS Stone, Captain Apana. Thank you so much to everybody that has made it so far into the show. All right, so going to go over to the map. And of course, Khamenei takes steps to ensure succession amid rising fears of U.S. strikes. Now, I think I can pull this up. Before we move on, I did want to remind you, I mentioned this This is the rumors and the rumor mill going out right now that China just showed you what the Pentagon would not. High-resolution Chinese satellite imagery shows every U.S. Navy literal combat ship has departed Bahrain. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer photographed leaving alongside them. The berths of naval support activity Bahrain, home of the U.S. Fifth Fleet, are empty. What that means is that they are leaving. They're heading out. They're hey, let's go kick this thing off. China is publishing surveillance photographs of American naval movements in the Persian Gulf. Beijing is telling the world and Tehran exactly where the U.S. warships are. That is not intelligence sharing. That is strategic signaling with two audiences. To Tehran, we see what the Americans are doing. To Washington, we are watching and we want you to know. Isn't it funny that China is just a straight up thorn in the side of this thing? But again, some people think that China is completely unrelated, that this is just a coincidence. They're just strategic partners like China and Canada are now, right? No, this is something much, much bigger. So, Dex, if this is true, and we don't know if this is absolutely true, isn't it crazy that if it's true that China is watching all of our ships and could have a better kind of grip on where they are than, say we do?
No, we have a much better grip on them. But it's no surprise. They
civilians, I mean.
They've had it. Yes, civilians, certainly. But even we were reporting on it, ship movements, the location of the Armada 100 miles off the coast of Oman, when civilian satellites finally were able to get the updated pictures and see it. So, the information's out there. I don't think it's not about them hiding in the water. They're going to be spotted and seen. All of our adversaries can see us just as well as we can see them. Well, not as good as we can see them, but yeah, they can see us good enough.
I like this part. Is that the principle is simple. You never let an adversary catch your fleet concentrated within missile range before you initiate operations. You disperse first, then you act. Pearl Harbor was the lesson. Every naval commander since has internalized it. When your adversary's ally starts publicly documenting your pre-strike dispersal pattern, they are not informing you. They're warning you that the element of surprise no longer exists. The ships have left port. The only question is, what happens after the berths are empty? So, again, that was Shanna Collins, and there will be a link to their Substack. So, yeah, there is a lot going on right now. I hope that we are not about to see a whole lot of craziness like in the next 24 to 48 hours, but that actually fits into what I believed was going to happen, just because if you look at the pattern, every time they say, this could happen even by the end of this weekend, I said it would probably happen in about 10 days. And that's going off of the patterns of the last 10 years covering news. When the Pentagon says it will happen in the next 72 hours, when the media says 72 hours, it's usually anywhere from 72 hours to 2 weeks, the average being about 10 days. Well, we're right about there. And now, of course, they're saying that this may be popping off. At the same time, I think it is very interesting, and I look at things like this, how they're talking about the alien disclosure. There's a good chunk of people that literally look at war news and they ignore it. You guys know people like this. You probably have friends and family like this. When you start talking about war or politics or geopolitics especially, they tune out and go, oh, okay, whatever, man. There's a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, the sky's falling. It's doom and gloom. Well, again, most of you are here because you're not like that, and you are paying attention, and you do understand what is happening here. A lot of people do it to protect themselves. The world's a horrible place already. They don't want to think about, bad things happening all the time. I don't blame them. But it's kind of like once the alarm clock goes off, you can't hit snooze anymore. Once you see it for what it is, it's really, really hard to go back. And right now, we're heading towards a precipice with all of our countries, and I sure hope that the U.S. absolutely takes out every adversary strategically and precision, so we never have a world war. But what it looks like is this is just going, this is par for the course for what is happening in World War III. We've got a timeline here, and the timeline is 2026 and 2027. I think it's actually going to kick off later this year. So this is just the beginning. I hope that this isn't the actual kickoff of a whole domino falling. I said that it was going to be North Korea or Iran, and that's based on the patterns. And now we have Iran that very well could be the first domino. What do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinions, though. I'm not always right. I would love to get your feedback on this. So yeah, but I'm hoping that my friends and family are going to be prepping. I've been telling a lot more people to watch my show that I know don't like my show, because I want them to know about this stuff, because I don't want any of my friends or family to be completely unknowing about any of this. From most people's standpoint that do watch the news, they think, oh, everybody knows this. No, there are people that literally ignore and avoid all kinds of geopolitical news. They hate the news. I mean, everybody knows them. And when the lights go off, your car doesn't start, and your phone doesn't turn on, those people are going to be dangerous. Those people are going to be absolutely dangerous. So I hope that people are paying attention, and I know you guys are. So thank you guys for all being here, and especially in this crazy time this year. Death to the dictator. Iranian students hold protests for a third day. Dex, do you want to talk about what's going on? And obviously this is
now
almost
that
unheard of.
They've got backup. They're coming back out. So the students at the University of Iran have held 3 days now of consecutive days of protests. And this is after that big push down that happened to them, where some are suggesting upwards of 15 to 20,000 people may have been taken out. But the protests come amid the tension, obviously, between Iran and Washington. Now, what I've said about this is one of those scenarios where, for regime change, you don't really need boots on the ground. You have the boots on the ground. It's the protesters. And if you can get them riled up at the same time as you go in and do the strategic strikes and take out enough of the leadership to weaken it, they will topple that government.
And since the beginning of the protests, many believe that, we don't know which country it is, whether it's ours, Israel, or a combination, or it was just an organic uprising of the people that happened essentially after the week before this started. It was like there was almost nothing. There were internal memos from the central bank in Iran saying something's about to go down and this and that, and save your, back up all the info. I mean, it was pretty clear. Somebody got a heads up that something was about to go down. If you followed the show every day, you would have saw as it went down, it was like you could tell something bad was about to happen. Then day after day, without media or internet, the rumors of what was going on was worse and worse. But right now, they've got the U.S. military there with 2 armadas. So obviously that's going to make a lot more people feel confident. And I'm sure in a country where they've been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down, heck, this kind of reminds me of the Sublime song. April 29th, 1992, I was on the streets, where were you? These guys are looking for not a new guitar, but probably a new something or other because they've been held down for so long. So a lot of people are going to cause chaos. It doesn't matter what language or what religion people are. When there's something like this where there's 10 million people going out on the streets, all the people just kind of jump on the bandwagon. They say, I'm going to do it too. Those guys are going to get themselves a new TV. I'm going to go get myself a new TV too. So this is big. And of course, most are these just massively coordinated protests. And it makes you wonder, is this the U.S.? Is it Israel? Is it a combination of both? What is actually happening there? We're told lies almost on a daily basis. We've had a lot of fantastic Freddies start world wars. Is this partly one? All right. And then thank you, and thank you, Weight Loss Prepper. Thank you, everybody that has already made it in. Highway 3000, Melody Thomas, and everyone else. Before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. We thoroughly believe that everybody should have these on their cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, anything that you want to keep running, you need to have this on it. This is a company that you can only get these devices through their website. Again, this is the same company and technology that is being used by the Air Force, the FBI, the Department of War, DHS, Department of Homeland Security. So if you want this protection on your own vehicles, on your own generators, on your own house, then go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It grounds the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before EMP blast or a Carrington level event from the sun is able to fry your device. Now, most likely in any situation, it's not going to be, parachutes dropping out of the sky. It's going to be something popping off and our power grid going down and we take out each other. So if you want to protect your own stuff and be able to get home to your family or get out to bug out, definitely advise having one of these on. It's a small investment for a huge relief, knowing you're going to be able to travel, to be able to have a generator, to be able to have your devices. Marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF. A lot of people say, well, what if the grid doesn't come back on? Then you have your generator. Then you have your devices that are not fried permanently. That's the whole reason why most people that are getting these are getting they're doing their house, which protects everything in the house plugged in within 250 linear feet. You have your generator, start that up to power the things in your house, and then, of course, in your car so you can travel. If you have basically those three things covered, you're a lot better than most people. The grid might not come back on. They've projected, if it goes the worst way, up to 2 years. But most is 6 months to 12 months. That's what DHS is telling the Americans to have in food just in case of an EMP. Marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF gets you $50 off and helps our independent channel at the same time. Talking about this, and especially a certain country, has literally pushed us down. People think that this is doom and gloom to get views. If you've been here a long time, you know the path that it's taken. It's definitely a whole different story. It's not suggested anymore. So I hope that you guys understand the recommendations we have. We don't just switch out. We don't flip out 50 Chinese flashlights every week. It's because these things we believe in and we think are going to be a lifesaver or make you comfortable through a disaster. So go check them out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, and then USS Gerald Ford expecting to dock in Haifa as the U.S. sends cargo refueling aircraft to Israel. Dex, do you want to cover this? And by the way, did you hear the rumor that they are, I don't know if it's totally fake AI or they're using other videos, but have you heard a rumor that they're having problems with their sewer system in the USSR Ford?
No, I have not. Sounds like a Carnival cruise to me. But
the poop cruise?
True. Who knows? Yeah. Was it the poop cruise? But yeah, look, this is sort of like acknowledgement that it's there. It's pretty much in range or getting close to being in range if it's about to be docking in Israel. So that puts it squared up into the Middle Eastern area and giving it plenty of range to make it. I don't know that they're going to necessarily take this one and bring it around to the Persian Gulf or over by Oman. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll go through because they can stay within range, I think, even in as they transit the Red Sea. But the Ford Carrier Strike Group, officially known as Carrier Strike Group 12, has entered the Mediterranean after it transited the Strait of Gibraltar. That was a few days ago when we talked about that. So now it's confirmed that it will dock in Haifa. But keep in mind, that's one of the biggest targets in the past for missiles from Iran and from others, their terror groups.
So this just keeps persisting. So they're saying unusual issue aboard the USS supercarrier. This is again one of the newest ships out there, and actually the first one put it the best way. So it says the sewage pipes on the USS Gerald Ford, the U.S. Navy's newest carrier, are too narrow to handle the load of a full crew, causing vacuum failure and repeatedly clogged toilets. A specialized acid solution must be used to flush and unclog the system at $400,000 per flush. That was in November of 2022. But then there's stuff from the last couple days saying that it's actually having this issue. So 8 minutes ago, and there's tons of people saying this. So I wonder, seeing that 2022 post, I wonder if people are totally pulling that out of their rear end that clogs toilets, and they're just reviving that as a convenient kind of, eye grabber. This one says, during the U.S. attack on Iran, the toilet crisis on the USS Gerald has become extremely severe. There are not enough working toilets for 4,600 sailors. They would have fixed this by now if this was an issue in 2022. That does not make sense. There's videos, of course, here. I saw these before the show. I mean, this is embarrassing. I think this is put out by China. What do you guys think? I think that this is all over Twitter. I mean, like literally, you type in the USS Ford, it is everything about the sewer system. This makes, I mean, I could just totally see China putting out these videos and having, you remember they have a 1 million man army that are not on the ground or spinning weapons. They're at a desk. They have the largest cyber military. These are people in full uniform that are sitting in front of a computer that have an account in social media, and essentially they can sway narratives. I mean, and I've said this times before, when you look at a tweet or even a YouTube video and you see the ratio, you see 10,000 dislikes and 10 likes, you're like, oh, everybody hates this. People just jump on that bandwagon. Heck, they won't even watch the video. Heck, they'll read the first 5 comments and judge a video by that. People have judged our videos by the first 3, comments that are on there, and they don't even watch. And because they're making comments that have nothing to do with the video, but they have something to do with the comment above it. It wasn't even in the video, but they're just following suit. People are followers. But with something like this, think about that. If you can put any narrative out there and then have 1 million people posting it, it's so insane to have, 1 million likes on a post, immediately make it go viral. That's what China has the power to do. Now, I don't know, this has been a few years since we found out that, China had this. So you'd think that the US would do something very, very similar or have an AI bot doing it. But I mean, if you think about it, you could have 1 million people seemingly look like they believe in the story, and regular people, as we know, follow, right? They're like, oh, everybody thinks this, so I think this. And they even repeat it. So yeah, the toilet thing just seems like a perfect timing. And China is like really corny. They do these like really corny, memes. They're not good at jokes, that's for sure. But yeah, and then we have massive Air Force warplane movements in Bulgaria raise stakes for Iran talks. Dex, do you want to go over that and what is going on with this?
Yeah, so the Bulgaria Sofia International Airport briefly suspended civilian air operations twice over the weekend while a fleet of American military aircraft staged at the facility, fueling speculation that Washington is positioning its forces ahead of the potential strike. So a NOTAM, verified by the outlets there in Bulgaria, showed that the airport restricted non-military operations between specific dates and hours over the last 2 days. The commercial flights are not ordinarily scheduled during that time frame. The airport authorities attributed the brief closures to routine runway repairs and explicitly denied any link to American military presence. Of course, they don't want to be a target to Iran's retaliation.
Yeah, this whole thing, and by the way, Dex, I'm going to pull something up here real quick. So we're looking like we're on thumbnail here. So just bear with me here. All right, and I'm pulling up chat here too. All right, by the way, thank you so much. Thank you, Farm Girl. Thank you for the massive support. Thank you for the mods who have been here night after night. And the mods that haven't been able to make it. I hope you guys are doing well. Especially Aaliyah. I am super, super pumped for you in your kickboxing journey there. All right, Farm Girl, thank you. This place is a cesspool. Mark Nibbs, American, it was deployed in Caribbean for 2 months, and now it's being deployed to Iran. It's entirely possible that their toilets are stopped up. So I actually do believe too, the way that they're talking about the $400,000 acid flush, that it's a current problem, that they designed it badly, and the solution was something that we have to do over and over again. Dex, wouldn't that make sense if that's a big complaint, that it's $400,000 to clean every time, that, it's just bad design? And how are you going to fix a ship like that that's permanently built? You would have to overhaul the entire ship. I mean, 4,600 sailors, how many bathrooms are in that thing? How much plumbing is in there? And it's all steel. If you made a design flaw in it, that would be a disaster, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you would think. You'd think you'd have a mess on your hands, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess it's the Poop Cruise 2.0. And then, Dex, can you talk about the U.S. envoys, Kushner? I'm going to change batteries here real quick.
Yeah, so for what little we're talking about Russia at the moment, but the U.S. negotiators are actually going to meet, actually not Russia, Iran, are going to meet with Iran. As much as we're talking about potentially going to war with them, there's still this notion of negotiation, something that, we didn't see happen at all with Russia and Ukraine. It kept falling apart. And no one has much faith in Iran when they come to negotiating, because they always just string it along. And I think that's even what U.S.'s position has been. But nonetheless, they're going back to the table because they said they were going to give them time. I think Trump said 10 days about 3 days ago, 10 to 15 days he was giving them. So that'll be in Geneva on Thursday this week. Will be the new round of nuclear talks with significant gaps remaining over enrichment limits, according to Trump's zero enrichment stance.
Excuse me. And then, obviously, if you haven't followed what's going on in Mexico, many of you have been probably watching a lot of these videos. A lot of you are probably on Twitter. But if you're not on Twitter, it's pretty crazy how the mainstream media has been super delayed on covering a lot of this. Now, just to sum it up, Mexico is like a war zone right now. Puerto Vallarta, my aunt was actually just down there. She left 2 days before all of this started popping off. She said it was just a normal Puerto Vallarta. It's a tourist city. 2 days later, there's explosions and smoke billowing from all over the city. There are buses supposedly being blown up all over the place. And they're actually, right now, the current news is that they have actually done some sort of huge explosion right before the border, the U.S. border that goes into San Diego, and that they're blocking American citizens from leaving. Not only that, they are saying that they are hunting down Americans and taking them out. Now, I want to give a shout out to Press for Truth, and we have put a link. I'm not going to show his video because I don't know him well enough to show his video, and I didn't ask him. But Press for Truth is down there, and he's doing live kind of broadcasting, or at least as of yesterday he was. And it looks pretty crazy down there, to say the least. So we've linked that over on our website. It was a video essentially when the peak of this was happening yesterday. Mind you, actually, I wouldn't say it's the peak, because now today they're doing all this other stuff. There's video of a full-on cartel truck ramming supposedly U.S. citizens in a vehicle that were trying to get away, and then pop, taking them out, and, left for Ed, if you get my meaning. So, this, and then now there's a story that says that the gangs opened fire on a prison and rammed the entrance, with 23 inmates escaping. I'm assuming these are their buddies. It says at least 23 inmates escaped a prison in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, as gangs opened fire and rammed the facility's gates. Local authorities have said that the Secretary of Public Security of Jalisco, Juan Pablo Hernandez, said that the inmates escaped the regional prison during Sunday's blockades following the death of a major cartel leader, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho. Now, why was El Mencho taken out right now? It makes you wonder, what is the play here? What is going on? Is this leader being taken out the real cause of this? Are there other countries that are essentially helping regime change in the cartels? Did a country like China or Russia help take out this leader because the leader that took its place, we'll talk about here in a second, is more of a puppet or more controllable? They even say that it is an American citizen named something Juan Pablo or whatever that is now being declared the new leader of this cartel. So really interesting to see he's supposedly an American citizen. It says, he said, currently the information available on the roll call indicates that 23 inmates have escaped. The corresponding alerts are being issued to federal authorities for their capture. This incident occurred when, unfortunately, criminal groups opened fire on the facility and used a vehicle to ram down the gate. This seems very, very coordinated. This looks like professional jobs. Obviously, we know that cartel is, they're saying that cartels are basically trained by military members now. Like they have enough money that they're tied in with countries' militaries. I mean, we know this because they've been getting systems like man-pad systems, anti-air systems and things like this, shoulder-mounted rocket launchers straight up that have U.S. Army on the side of them. So something is definitely going on here. Mind you, they found out a couple years ago, they found cartel members with gear that actually originated in Ukraine. Think about that one. That one really threw me for a loop, and many other taxpayers that absolutely hated 4 years of their life. But again, it's thought highly dangerous inmates escaped from the reintegration center. I like how they call it reintegration at the Ixba prison after it was stormed by an armed group. An armed vehicle reportedly rammed through the gate of the prison while Gar was taken out in the shootout, which followed after. Now, I have heard rumors from people that are down there that half of the guards said, hey, go ahead and do it, because they weren't going to lose their life over this. So it was, most rumors said that this was really easy. Like they once they rammed it, once they opened fire, most surrendered, most put up a white flag and said, take whoever you want. I don't know if that is true, but that is what a couple people that were down in Mexico were saying, that one of them said that they knew one of the guards there and that everybody wasn't trying to lose their life over this. They're not going to stand up to keep these guys in prison when what seemingly looks like their whole city is being taken over right now. Dex, have you gotten a chance to watch a lot of the videos of this? I mean, this looks like hell on earth. Why is this all happening?
Well, it's certainly happening because they're retaliating, right? They're upset. Their largest money source of income has been taken out, and that was they went after the head who runs the bringing in the Fentanyl, and so they lost human trafficking. They've lost the bringing over all of the illegals across the border. They were getting paid for that, and now they're losing the Fentanyl business. So what's that leave them?
Okay, now here's the thing, and I got this idea actually from a subscriber, because I have not noticed a difference in some of the, like Walmart. I keep using Walmart because it is in my city, it's just an area where it's just like everywhere there's zombies. And you may know, because you've may watched videos of Portland, my city is much like it, where there's just zombies that are leaning over, like just totally out on Fent. Some of you may be on it as well. I understand that addiction is a really rough thing. And in fact, I would like to ask you guys, and this is my point, if you are on it, you don't have to admit it or say it, but have you seen Fentanyl dry up at all? Is it actually gone? Because from the idea from the subscriber was to go out and ask. I didn't do it on camera, but I'm going to. I'm going to ask people on the street, and who knows how that will go. Probably going to bring some friends. Is there a shortage of this stuff? Because if there's not, what is the real narrative here? They're saying because they stopped the Fentanyl from coming in, what we see is like, oh, that speedboat and that speedboat got taken out. But there's so many different sources coming into this country of that stuff. I want to ask you guys, and if you know anything about this, if you know people that do it, you don't have to get anybody in trouble, but is it really drying up? Is it been stopped? Are the streets clean from Fentanyl? I think that would be extremely hard to do. So, especially since, they're looking at Venezuela and all this, but other countries are bringing it in too. China, Mexico is a heavy factor there. And of course, our border obviously has been clamped down on. But what if they're making it here? What if the farms across the street from the frickin' bases are making it? We don't know. Maybe that was the purpose of that. Who knows? Maybe it's totally not what I think, and it's actually because they realized that the border was going to be clamped down on, and they still need to make that Fentanyl and destroy our people and have 100,000 deaths per year. Have the deaths reduced? That's what I want to know. Even if they say they're reduced, again, we went through a time period from 2019 to 2023 where nobody really believed what was going on with deaths. So what is your opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. Funny Doers International. When I was in Seattle in 2024, I went out at night, one of the nights, and I did see some shady drug characters. I saw one person outside a Holiday Inn on Fentanyl in the middle of the road too. Yeah, and that's actually about 3 blocks away from what they call the Blade. I had to take a bus back home from the I worked at a tourist. I worked at the Pike Place Market, which was a very, very touristy place, and it's a couple blocks away. I had to take a bus that was at the Blade, and it was worse than it was now. I guess they took out the McDonald's there. The McDonald's was a drug, an open air drug market, right? People were doing deals. You would sit at the bus stop and there's a huge 10 by 10 window of people eating like burgers and then counting out pills or breaking up, powders and putting it in baggies. And there would be an armed security guard just standing there watching. It was the weirdest thing. And then they started putting cameras up all over the place, and then like invasive cameras. They were down on poles. They said that they were doing facial recognition in the neighborhood. I was at the bus stop multiple times when they had DOC pop by in a white van, and they had these I wouldn't call them GUNs, but they were like these screens, handheld screens. Imagine like Star Trek tricorder or something. But what it was a facial recognition system before a lot of people were talking about Flock that had all of the people that were not supposed to be in that area. It was supposedly an area where if you get on probation, you're not supposed to be in a drug or whatever area. So they would basically drive by with the white van with this thing that was basically a camera. If the face matched, they would open up the van. You guys can look this up. Open up the van, snatch a guy, and put him in the van. It looked like kidnapping every single time. I saw at least 3 of those happen, and usually they get put in King County Jail and get released or whatever. But again, that kind of stuff happened here. Our city is absolutely destroyed, and I know some of those out there that are not living in my city. Some guy the other day was like, "Oh, you talk about Seattle too much." I'm from Seattle. This is from my perspective. Again, it's my opinion, my show. If you don't like me, you don't like where I live, then don't watch. But from what I have seen, our city is being destroyed. And it started in 2019 on a bad level. And I asked you guys around the country if it was happening to where you were, and almost everybody said yes. So this isn't just a my city type thing. It's more of a our country thing. Obviously, the thing that the president ran on did so well because a lot of us see our country going down the USS Ford. So yeah, everything that's going on, I really wonder, is the Fentanyl gone? Is this narrative more of a public narrative? And it relates back to my theory that the U.S. actually did the first strike in World War III. They took out Venezuela. They're basically fiddling and going to try to regime change Iran. They're taking Cuba out of the picture, which was a huge strategic location. And of course, everybody through Colombia, Venezuela, all of that, and Mexico now. Remember, they said that they basically approved of operations in Mexico just a few months ago, and they were waiting on Senator, and Sheinbaum was actually going to be the final, say in that. So what the hell is really happening? And the timing is pretty sus. And just want to point out, at the same time, they're like, yeah, by the way, in the next week, we're going to tell you guys aliens exist. Okay. Keep hitting snooze, people. But just my opinion. If you're here, that might happen. You might hear it. All right, and then before we move on, make sure to go check out Jace Medical. If you haven't already, this is a great kit. You can actually do a quick telehealth appointment with a board-certified doctor and get a kit right to your door of all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. If we have any kind of disaster here in the Northwest, if we have, of course, a huge, massive earthquake, the Cascades Subduction Zone, every freaking overpass from here to California will drop down on the freeway. You won't be able to go north to south. In that kind of scenario, you want to have antibiotics on hand because you don't know if you're going to be able to get to the hospital. If we go to war with China, they make 90% of all antibiotics, 97% of all active pharmaceutical ingredients that are in those said antibiotics. So if you want to have these on hand, it would definitely get you through hard times, especially if you have something unexpected happen where you need them. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jason. Make sure to use the code MARF. Every affiliate that we have, it ends up helping us. We're independent. Nobody gets to tell us what to say. Nobody gets to tell us what to sell. There's no, multi-channel network saving us. Again, people look at multi-channel network as it's a bad thing. They take 10% of your stuff and they protect you. We don't have them to protect us. We have nobody to protect us. We just have you guys, again, sharing us out and getting us to as many people as possible. You are essentially our army. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody that shares our stuff out and, brings in friends and family, coworkers to our channel. That is one of the only ways we grow. Thank you so much again for supporting us through affiliates. These affiliates, again, will make you more prepared and will help us out at the same time. But also, thank you for making it to every show. Sign Digger, thank you. Ace Buzz, Nathan McMahon, Bruce. I don't want to mess that one. Bruce Melinda Yarns, thank you so much. WIS Jen, just some guy. Randy Man, nice to see you. The one whom Jesus loves 95. The only of the last 3 years or so, don't use him in any way in the time your money went to waste. Tacked on a bunch of missing people. I mean, it was covered in missing people the last 5, maybe 10 years. It appears they cleaned up this area. If you're talking about Seattle or Oregon, both are very, very similar. Smash the thumbs up for Adam and Dex. Hey, Tiffany Hartman, thank you. I don't ask you guys because I don't believe it actually works, but if you do it, it does help us. And then thank you, Paul Apostle. The kingdom is within everyone. Imagine if everyone woke up tomorrow and helped each other in love. Yeah, that would be great. And we all want to make arguments about it's this religion, it's this people, it's a left or right. I agree. That would be peace on earth, and I'm sure there's a lot of you that agree it would be nice to have it. Thank you so much, Justin Lee Beaver. Thank you so much. Oh, dude, your screen name's different now that it's changed. What is going on? It says, aloha from Maui, Marfia. Life is so great every day. Countless miracles are happening all around us. We're blessed with our loved ones and blessed with some great days. The sun still shines. The moon still glows. You are alive. Well, have to say you are in beautiful Hawaii, but me being in Seattle and all in the dark gray rain and sadness and ever falling depression. But again, I totally get you. And thanks for stopping by. Justin Lee has been around for probably 8-9 years, one of my oldest subscribers. So thank you so much. Make sure to drop a J in the chat for Justin Lee. All right, and then thank you, Stephen McMahon. Thank you for dropping an M in the chat for the mods. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys, have a great night. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It is a shoutro. Where we say thank you to the people that matter most. Thank you so much, Farm Girl, Stephen McMahon, and Justin Lee Beaver.
Back in them